Ladies and gentlemen, it's very clear to me now that US is losing the war and Iran is winning the war. And this has serious implication for the oil market and the financial market. And let's just watch on to see why I said that and what's the implication to the oil and the stock market. So today's talk is really inspired by two persons that I saw, all arriving at the same conclusion. The US is going to lose the Gulf War with Iran. And the two persons are Robert Kiyosaki and Professor Chiang. And both of them are prominent persons for different reasons. But they are two separate thinkers. I don't even think they know each other or even align with each other. But they both came out with the same conclusion with different slant and different flavor, but essentially saying that US is going to lose this war. First of all, a lot of people think of a war, they only think of missiles, bombs, drones, jet attacks, strikes, and things like that. And whoever has the most firepower will win the war. And that's traditionally true for most war, as we see those in the movies and to some extent those in history as well. But what win wars is also about war tahanability and tenacity. So in this war, the economic pressure, the economic war is probably the focus of it. And really, many people miss this, but oil is the real weapon of this war. Now, just to understand what do you mean by winning and losing, many people say, isn't Iran losing the war? They got bombed the living daylights of them. All their military capability are being wiped out, or at least a large majority of it. The Ayatollah is dead. Now there's a new one. We don't know when he's going to get wiped out as well. Many of the military heads are dead, and the rest they have appointed are also dead, and so on. But we just need to understand that Iran's objective is not to win militarily. It is trying to make the war economically unbearable for the United States and for Israel. The traditional definition of victory means you destroy the enemy, kill the enemy so hard that they will regret attacking you. But to Iran, the objective is very clear. Their definition of victory simply means force the enemy to quit. They know they can't fight the combined firepower of US and Israel. Very few. In fact, I don't even think there's a country in the world that can withstand the firepower and the military might of United States. So the objective is very clear. Stay alive and stay intact with our regime. That's what they're trying to do. So how does Iran make it unbearable for the United States? Well, they are not trying to hit the United States soldiers and kill as many of them. They do that as well. But if you notice right now, they are trying to hit all the oil infrastructure that the Gulf region has, plus disrupting the entire Strait of Hormuz entirely. So in the past, every day, hundreds of ships and tankers will sail through the Strait of Hormuz. Now less than 10 a day. That's how extensive it is. So as the price get disrupted and the oil prices start going up, then this would cause the entire country that depend on oil and energy externally to go up in overall cost of production and consumer prices. And in the end, you all hit back to US. So the first few countries that we hit will not be US, but actually Asia. Asia will get hit very badly. Europe will get hit very badly. And finally, they will later flow on to Americans. The Americans are lucky that they have oil and they are net exporter of oil and energy now, but they'll still get bitten by the increase in oil prices. So the IRGC, the Iranian military, has came out to set a $200 per barrel target for the oil. And I think their words are more credible than and more threatening than Donald Trump. Well, they may not hit there, but even $100 or $150 is very lethal to the world economy. So they have outright said that we will push the oil prices all the way to $200, and that will basically cause inflation everywhere in the world. Economies will slow down, stock market will crash terribly, and Donald Trump will be so busy taking phone calls non-stop from every father, mother, son, from the Gulf countries, from the allies, and from everybody, just telling him to buzz off these $200 now. His own political party plus the Democrats will also call him non-stop, will make him very, very discouraged that this war will continue. So just to take a look at the oil prices, today it has went up by 6%, not a lot, not a lot as compared to $100 over dollars. Today Brent oil has actually went up to $100 over dollars. It went down and it could come up a bit. Just to describe to you, oil prices are very volatile. The WTI has also gone up a lot. So that is in the backdrop that Donald Trump has activated energy reserves, and internationally, quite a lot of energy reserves has been activated already. That's despite all this, oil prices are going up. It would have been much worse if the energy reserves had not been activated. So oil is the ultimate weapon. So Iran knows this, and they're disrupting the Straits of Hormuz. They're attacking tankers. More and more tankers attack are being announced every day, and they're now attacking regional Gulf countries, oil deposit, oil reserves, oil production capability, gas production capability, and so on. And this will cause oil prices to go up, and this will hurt the US and the rest of the world really badly. Not to mention, the Straits of Hormuz also have another important things they carry: fertilizers that is necessary for the planting of crops. And this is also a secondary effect that we have not talked a lot about it. So just to be very clear, how does Iran execute the strategy? They are now putting sea mines. I saw a video, and I'll probably put it into my Telegram group in 1865. Sea mines, rows and rows of sea mines, and ships or boats. There are water drones that can be used as kamikaze drones to attack tankers and things like that. And they're clearly attacking refineries. They're sabotaging pipelines. They are doing lots and lots of drones attacks. It's nearly impossible to push off the drone attacks because they're too cheap to produce, but they are launched in mass numbers. Clearly, Iran right now is escalating, and the Persian Gulf right now has seen much flames and much attack. Saudi oil fields are being attacked. The Aramco facilities under drones and missile bombardment. Bahrain infrastructure is being attacked. Oman port oil tanks and oil storage are also being attacked. So the Persian Gulf is becoming a war zone, and nobody dares to ship through the Straits of Hormuz lest they're being attacked. Forget about this nonsense that the Iranians are only attacking US and its allies. They're attacking everybody. Thailand tankers were being attacked. What does Thailand got to do with all this? The increase in oil prices will hit political will, and this increase in oil prices will strain economies and possibly cause the US gasoline prices to go up a lot. It is already went up, and the midterm elections are coming. So Donald Trump must be thinking very carefully right now. Does he want to this attack? Now, clearly, he has said it many, many times. Oh, we'll make this attack very short, very short. No, we'll make this war very short. But it takes two hands to clap. If you want to stop it, but Israel doesn't want to stop it, then there's another different matter. If you and Israel want to stop it, but Iranians don't want to stop it, that's also another matter. So the Iranians have come out and say, these are our terms: stop the attack, pay for all the damages you have caused, okay? And then we'll decide whether we want to stop the attack. So that's quite serious, right? We're now very clear. The US definition of victory and the Iranian definition of victory is very different. The Iranians, for victory, simply means to survive and to prevail. That bar is very low. He doesn't need to defeat America. He just need to outlast it in this war. And on the other hand, their definition of victory keep changing. They want unconditional surrender of Iran. They want a regime change in Iran. They want nuclear control. They want shipping lane dominance. They want to control the Straits of Hormuz. They want the military to be fully dismantled. You know what? Out of these five verbalized aim, how many have they achieved? Nothing at all. So this is clearly what we call a war of attrition. See who wears out faster. So Iran is just trying to tahan when the American is trying to achieve a decisive victory by announcing that I want things to be quick. The other side say, we can last longer than you. Let's see how it goes. So it is what we call a classic asymmetric warfare. The objectives are not equal. It favors the side that the objective is clearer and simpler. So we have seen this happen in the past before, that great powers, despite immense power, lost the battle after they can't take it. So best example, the Vietnam War, right? The US have all the military might. They fought Vietnam, far inferior in warfare, far inferior in ammunition, but the war dragged on. So many soldiers died, 70 over 1,000 soldiers died. And as a result, there were collapse in domestic support and the cost become unsustainable. They move out. Same with the war with in Iraq. Same thing. They gave up because it's just too costly over a long run. By the way, that's the same for the Russians' war on Afghanistan as well. They also gave up this way. So this pattern repeats. A weaker power can win the war by making the cost of winning too high for the stronger power. That's all they need to do. The real battlefield is in the oil market. As a result, there are consequences to the financial market. The consequence to the financial market will be seen in the stock market. We shall see whether the oil prices will spike beyond $100 to 120 to 150. And in the unusual event they hit 150, lo and behold, there will be an Armageddon. There'll be a massive crash in the stock market, which is something I will be capitalizing on. So will this happen? I don't know. The situation is very fluid. Trump knows that he cannot win this war at the way he's doing it. He might decide, yeah, I just declared victory in the way I declare victory and just walk away. So he might just do that and then everything just come to peace. I think there's a high chance of him doing that. Then basically they have lost the war. So will US win the war or the Iranians will win the war? By the definition, I would like to hear your comments. And we're happy to see you guys in a live stream. Okay. Thank you, everybody. And good night.